Okay, so we're going to go on our next topic. Alan, this is your topic.
Okay. So, I mean, this one can be a little bit more serious, more or less, however you guys want to interpret it. But I just wanted to find out, now we're all, I mean, we talk about how we're all getting, closer to like middle-ish age or like more adult age, like we're all around 30 now.
Yeah.
But a lot of things evolve as you get older, with kids, families, all kinds of stuff, wives, living away from, your families, things like that.
Yeah.
And also like responsibilities, your work's responsibilities, like your own personal responsibilities that you want to do.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to juggle all those things. And like sometimes I feel like some things get sacrificed, sometimes, you got to really prioritize what you want to do.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to find out what you guys are really like, what's your biggest struggle right now in getting, whether it be like having enough time to do something or like sticking to your commitments, like keeping in touch with friends, family, even work things. It could just be like, oh, I'm like really bad at like organizing my work schedule or something. Like I've always struggled with this. Like for me, I think you guys know that I have like ADD, ADHD, I guess is the official name or whatever, and it's like everyone's like, oh, it's it's that thing for kids, you're just hyper or something like that, and it's really it is like a deficiency in attention.
Yeah.
Like it's really not lack of attention, it's just hard to focus the attention. So for me, like organizational things are really difficult. Even something as simple as like remembering to reply back on a phone, I might forget to do because like my brain is like thinking about X thing or Y thing. So organizing and kind of tackling that has been my struggle for the last year. And so I'm like taking medication for it, going to see like a coach, like a life coach essentially for handling it. And I've already seen like huge benefits. Like at home, like Yukiko is like, holy crap, it's like I can actually talk to this person now and I feel like they're listening to me.
Yeah.
And like people at work can tell, I got a promotion at work because obviously like
Nice.
I executed the like organizational side of it because now it's more people management that I'm doing rather than like hands-on artwork
Really?
stuff. Yeah.
Dude, grats.
That's
So yeah,
awesome.
it's been a really big struggle though. Like the first year that I lived here, Yukiko told me she's like it's almost like I have like don't even know who this person is because she didn't know like what it was like. She thought at first, and this is like kind of makes sense because Clay, like in college, people would be like, oh, you're such an asshole, Alan, or something, and it's like it would be something like I'm not even like aware of. Like in a conversation, you're not picking up those like little like emotional beats in the conversation, so you're kind of missing like when somebody's being serious and then you like poke fun of them and they're like, dude, what the fuck,
Yeah.
So the same thing kind of happened with her, where she was just like I'm like sharing like my heart and soul with this person. He's like half paying attention and like kind of watching a soccer game or something.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like I had no idea. I was like I'm doing my hardest to focus, but at the same
Yeah.
time I'm just kind of like, ooh, like shiny. It's like being a cat
squirrel.
essentially. It's like, oh, the shiny is like, oh.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you're always just looking for that one thing to kind of like spark, your juices flowing in your brain that's just like stimulating.
Totally.
And so that's what like the medication really helps, is to regulate that, so you're like not just doing like, ooh, the next shiny new thing. You're also like, okay, well, I got to take care of this dull thing and put this like less exciting thing away or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, like I feel like struggling with that for so long and finally feeling like it's controllable has been really empowering overall. Like
Yeah.
like confidence boost, all kinds of stuff. So
That's
Nice.
freaking awesome, man.
yeah, so I just want to find out, like, Clay, you have a newborn. I imagine that's really difficult. New job. Ian, I know you just got into a new job. Like, different responsibilities and everything. You guys, living with your significant others.
Yeah,
Well, go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, I guess, man, I feel like there's a handful of struggles, but, man, I think I commend you for doing what you did. First of all, it's amazing what you're able to do, because I think you're not alone, right? Like, there's tons of people out there with the same like ADHD, and then they struggle with like in anything. Like, any deficiency. Like, it's not just ADHD; it could be anything. And then like being able to get that help, especially when it's more mental, is really tough because it's really hard for people to accept that because it feels like such like a negative impact in your life, right? You're gonna say something, sorry.
Definitely. No, I was just going to say that, and that's like a great thing about Canada too, is to go to see like a ADHD specialist just to like get the prescriptions and stuff. That is free. It's covered by medical health care because technically it's a mental health disorder, which Canada has really good coverage for. That's free for anybody, no matter what. So like you see lots of mental health clinics all over the place.
That's awesome.
That's good.
But the coaching is not like the person with the coaching. That's still fucking expensive, and medication. Unless I'm low income, there's no assistance, and holy fuck, the price of pills is ridiculous. I pay a little over $200 a month just for the pills. Yeah,
that's a car payment.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Hopefully, the life coach, right? I mean, that's the idea. That the life coach will wean you off.
Well,
right?
I know it sounds kind of like more like the medication will like be like a lifelong type thing.
Okay.
Just because you're like you can change like your diet somewhat to help it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's like rather than eating like fatty like fast foods or something that's just like instant burst of whatever. It's kind of like regulating like whole grains, protein, whatever a normal good diet is.
Gotcha.
But I think the medication really is like a key part of the whole thing, on top of like knowing what the fuck to do once you're on it, which helps with.
Interesting.
And half the battle is just realizing that you have to take care of that.
Yeah, no, that was I really had a hard time with that. That was like a big struggle. It was like I was just like so anti-meds because I had been on them since like when I was a kid, when I had no choice. It was like my parents were like, hey, you're taking these medications now, like this is what you do. And then like college, like I never took anything. Like I just kind of did it all, and it took me 5 years to graduate for a 4-year degree.
It took me 6.
Yeah, so definitely like you could see like the difference between the two things, and so I was really anti-medication. I was like, I don't want to be taking this. Who knows like what kind of health concerns it'll give me, because it's technically an amphetamine, right? Like it's like dangerous for your cardiovascular system, but I mean it seems like the dosage, depending on what you take, if you're not like snorting it and like taking like way too much, then you're not gonna like die one day on the soccer field or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
man, I think that's such a great story, and I would urge anybody listening to like, I think we will all have it. Like I definitely had my biggest struggle, not recently, but similarly, was just relationships in general. I had a really hard time being able to. Man, I don't know how to describe this, but like just being really concerned and overly anxious and not even depressed, but really, really anxious and really, really nervous and like really, really like hypercritical and sensitive to a relationship. And I have reasons why. But when I met Sarah, like I knew I didn't want to mess this up, because it's not like it was a direct correlation to screwing up, but it was affecting me and having me make decisions or do things enough times, death by 1,000 cuts, right?
Yeah.
Where the relationship would just kind of teeter, right? Like I would be way too clingy, or I would just be way too much of a jerk, or like, you know what I mean? Like there was like a lot of this like
extreme.
What?
I said you were like on the extremes.
Very on the extremes, based on how I felt. Like I always felt like maybe they were cheating on me or something like that. Like there was like a lot of issues. So I eventually saw a psychiatrist because I knew that this was something that I needed to tackle. And that helped a ton because I got to talk through a lot of the things and like, process stuff that I had been kind of holding in the back of my head since I was a kid.
And it's kind of nice to just like meet like a total stranger and just kind of like fucking like do a thought download to them, like not have to worry about like I'm never going to talk to this person any other time, like I don't have any sort of relationship with them, and I can just like spit everything out at them and just be like, now tell me what you think about that.
Right. Yeah.
Which is crazy for somebody that's their job, like just,
I know, because
everything you have, like
it's hard to not like wear that stuff or carry. I mean, they say that psychiatrists, it's hard for them because they will take on some of the stresses of their clients, and they meet with a lot of people during the day, and so they need to take fucking mental breaks for a month. So that was my biggest struggle for a while, and that's something I was tackling a little bit since college. Certainly once I was out of college, I was just trying to fucking, what is wrong with my relationship with the opposite sex, and why do I have such a weird skewed view on things, and why do I act a certain way, and like why can't I just juggle the many different facets that comes with a relationship in an efficient, normal manner that most people are able to do, whereas I'm just like like spazzing, right? And it could be any one of things. So that was great. My current struggles is really just about getting in enough balance of work, life, family, and friends, and that seems pretty, privileged or like white people problems. But I've recently figured out like a really good workout routine because that's something I was losing.
Nice.
So, and it actually doubles as workout / me time. So I wake up at 5:30 or 5:15 and I work out. Monday, like I work out every other day.
So brutal.
I know everybody's like, but this is like,
if it works for you, yeah.
Right, and at first it sounds really bad, but when you're working out and you're able to also watch that Netflix documentary or movie that you've been wanting to watch, but your significant other doesn't want to watch, so you really have no time, it's really nice. And you're watching it 30 minutes, 40 minutes at a time, but it's cool because it's like, you're just episodic, you chunk it, right? So I'm watching Rounders for the first time, which is awesome. But Sarah has seen that movie, and so we usually are like, no, let's watch something we both haven't seen. But this is great for me because I'm working out and consuming content that I want. And then the next day, I play video games. So it's like workout, video games, workout, video games, workout, video games. And so like I have dedicated time where the child's not up, Sarah's still sleeping or doing something else, and like I get to just kind of focus on me, and that's really nice. And then Friday nights, Saturday nights, I get to really play with you guys, and then we set up some like days locally with friends and stuff where we like game night, but that's kind of fallen off. We need to pick that back up again, but like so I gotta so that's just one thing that's kind of like being brought down, and I would really like to balance that out. And then there's like money stuff, but like that's really my biggest struggle, is just trying to make sure that is all.
That's I mean, I definitely have that too. Like trying to because like you said, it's really important for me, especially to have like that me time, to like do your own kind of, because it's like it's a little different. Like I think all guys know that it's like a little different hanging out with the opposite sex or your significant other, just because like biologically the brain wirings are just a little different, and like the things that you need to be interested in or like need to just kind of like have to de-stress and like let your brain kind of relax are different for the two sexes, I think. And so you just kind of need sometimes like some space, because I have like the same thing. Like usually people will go to bed at a certain time and I'll stay up for like an hour or an hour or two afterwards just to have like that me time, watch a soccer game, not to bore her or anything, or like play League with you guys. I think that's really important.
We call it filling your bucket, right? You need to it's important for both people in a relationship to go do the things that fill their bucket, so that you can be more present for your partner when the time needs.
Right, and like I do the same thing, where I have my gaming time and stuff like that, and my wife will just be watching a show in the other room. It's good to have that. Like there's also, she goes out with her sister sometimes and I'll just stay at home. I'm like, look, I don't feel like going, you just go out, have fun, I'm just gonna relax and chill here. But my biggest struggle, I think, it's more like towards time management. I have a little bit of like, I have all these projects I want to do on my house, and some I've kind of started, some I haven't, and I look at it and I'm like, ugh, like I get home from work and stuff, I'm like, if I start doing this, it's going to consume my next 2 weeks, and I'm like, I don't feel like doing that. And I took on a few projects and did that, but I sit there, I'm like, okay, I don't want to do that. And then, trying to balance that work and life and getting things done, that's where my biggest struggle is. I don't get to go and hang out with my friends as much as I used to. Just getting older with age, you don't want to go out all night and stuff. So
no.
Pass.
Last thing
I don't know if I ever really wanted to do that.
And we'll do it once in a blue moon, because like my wife would like to go oh hey, let's go out to this restaurant and hang out with these people and stuff like that. I'm like, okay. And then they're like, oh hey, let's go here, and I'm like, it's like 11 o'clock, I'm ready to start heading home.
Okay.
So that's the thing, and that's the thing. I think becoming more comfortable just telling people that is something that is like, it definitely, I feel like I've improved on, like as I've gotten older. You just like don't really give a shit as much about like making sure everybody else is pleased. You got to kind of take care of your own in that. So it's kind of just like, all right, well, you guys have fun. They're like, oh, you're like such a pussy or something, and just like, yep, well, I will be in bed, and see you later. So I think like just setting those boundaries, people nowadays, I think, like as like a tip would just be like, they're just gonna be like, yeah, fine. They'll think about it for like 5 minutes, and then later they'll just be like, okay, yeah, oh yeah, let's go party. Like Ian's gonna go sleep. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like nobody.
And that's
like,
pretty much what happens half the time, you know, because like we'll be out like out to dinner, and I'm like, I'm gonna be heading home, and my wife's like, well, they want to go do this. I'm like, well, you guys go do that. I'll just go home then.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I time management, you know, and I really need to get some of these things done too, and that's what sucks because I'm like, ugh, and
Yeah.
I have to do it. And then like, you know, my mother will ask me if I can come and help her. Like tomorrow, I'm gonna be at the house, their house, doing some work, but I would sit there and go, oh, next weekend, and then boom, like 3 months pass by.
Calling your parents and keeping up with the family, your siblings, like if you don't live in that same state, has been a struggle for me lately. To the point where I've had a serious conversation with my mom and my parents about just like, look, sorry, I don't call you guys ever.
Oh,
So
really?
sorry. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I call my parents. I would say about every week, maybe every 2 weeks or something. So like I talk to them all the time.
I'll go like once.
But yeah, I'm really bad at talking to my sister though.
Yeah. Yeah.
My sister, I seriously like talk to like twice a year. Like I call her and stuff. Like it's really bad, and like yeah, that's one thing where it's just like if we have a 4-year gap, and I'm just like, okay, why am I not like even calling her or something? Like why am I afraid? And that was like one thing I told like my like coach guy. He was like, you know, I told him she was having some struggles or something, and he was like, okay, so why are you afraid of calling? And I was like, I don't know, like I'm not sure what to say or you know what I can offer being so far away. And he's like, but you care about it, right? But care about her, right? And I was like, well, yeah, obviously, like she's my sister. And he's like, there you go. I was just like, whoa. He's like, let's just step through. Like, what would this phone call be like? You know, like, oh yeah, hey, you know, sister, like I'm just thinking about you. Heard you're going through a rough time. Just letting you know, I'm thinking about you. And if you need anything, then feel free to call me. And he's
Did you do that?
No, I haven't done it yet. Like
okay.
I still haven't done it. That's the thing. Is like I'm just like been psyching myself out. But I did like email her. I was like, hey, like, because she has 2 kids, a 6-year-old now and a 3-year-old. So it's just like she's full-time mom. And so I emailed her and I was like, hey, like I know you're busy all the time, so why don't you just give me a call when you have a free moment or something? And she has ADD too.
Yeah.
She never wrote me back for the email. But it was funny because my dad, I talked to him the other day, and he's like, yeah, she told us that you reached out to her. She's gonna get back to you, but yeah.
Isn't that funny?
So I'm sure she's going through the same thing like me. It's just like, oh my god, like what do I do? Like what do I say? You know?
Yeah, and she has 2 kids. Like, your
That's the
weekends
thing,
and your time just gets eaten up. And before you know, and it's weird. You know, like I'm feeding Xander or something, and like I got a phone call, and I'm like, I just can't. Or it's insane. The second you get time to yourself, your bucket is completely empty. You need to fill it. You're loading up to a League of Legends game. You get that phone call. You're like, I can't talk right now. I need to fill my bucket right now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And this is the 1 hour in the day I have. Like I gotta fill this bucket, or I'm gonna go insane.
Yeah, like I always put my phone on silent and ignore and stuff because I just don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
But you got to have those like little tidbits.
A little tidbit.
Yeah,
That's right.
they do.
All right, guys.